Now this is getting silly. Smartphone design led, arguably by Samsung, has been curving edges, screens and backs for several years now. We've got to the point where you can almost cut food with the phone's edges. The front and back meet with a point, and when you add in oleophobic glass on both sides, you end up with a phone you just really can't hold with any confidence. For most smartphones, a case is a jolly good idea. For the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, it's an absolute necessity. I've got 5 on order. So we have this rainbow mirrored aura glow finish, and you won't ever see it. Well, I guess you could buy a clear case, but the optical effects won't work anywhere near as well, at which point I have to ask, what's the point? But let's assume you've grabbed a cheap TPU case from somewhere and now gripping the Note 10 Plus tightly. What you're holding is one of the highest spec pieces of tech on the planet, which you jolly well should be at exactly £1,000 in the UK. Exynos 9825 or Snapdragon 855, depending on region, with a whopping 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of internal storage plus micro SD, a 6.8-inch, again repeat, 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED screen with just a small punch hole for the front camera. Plus every other spec point you can think of, including 15-watt Qi wireless charging, even 9-watt reverse wireless charging something else. I was charging my iPhone 11 Pro in London last week and it worked really, really well. So yes, this can charge other Qi devices faster than most Qi wireless pads can. Boggle. And powering it all is a huge 4300 milliampere battery that's impossible to drain in a day. And I haven't even got to the S Pen yet. This, as you'll have gathered, is business as usual for a Galaxy Note device with the best that Samsung can offer. Though it has to be noted that diehards like me will miss the 3.5mm audio jack. This is the first Samsung mainstream phone, I think, to omit one. And yes, I do think it will hurt sales slightly, as will missing out other niche favourite spec points like a notification LED or a heart rate sensor. They're all gone. Now, these omissions aren't showstoppers in themselves. It has to be noted that Samsung's previous Galaxy Note 9 is now widely available at around £600 new, so almost half the price, and it has all the aforementioned ports and goodies. So here it could be argued you're effectively paying a lot more for less. But now that I've got that off my chest and you're still interested in the 10 Plus, this year's Note flagship, is it any good? Well, once cased, yes it is. You've still got a load of smartphone for your money and future-proof in terms of OS updates from Samsung until well into 2022. The screen is terrific, the best on any smartphone ever, I think. The triple camera is excellent too, though not up to the very high bar set by the new iPhone 11 Pro that's shooting this very show. 12 megapixel 2x telephoto and main lenses are effectively the same as on last year's Galaxy S and Note ranges, plus new to the Note range 16 megapixel ultra wide lens here that's terrific. See the samples. It's hard to catch a Samsung flagship camera out. They're just very good across the board in all light conditions and with blindingly fast autofocus thanks to dual pixel technology. You also get a time of flight sensor to help with live focus, i.e. portrait or shallow depth of field effects. It's hard to complain. Now, last year's Note 9 introduced taking photos with the S Pen stylus as a remote, and this still works on the Note 10 Plus, of course. Plus, you can use the S Pen's accelerometer to swipe between camera modes, and you'd need to do this because, well, do as Samsung's lady did at the Note 10 launch and stick the phone on a tripod and then do a few pieces to camera, that sort of thing. It's a bit niche though. Happily, there's a lot more you can do with the S Pen, again, just as you could last year with the Note 9. Whip out the stylus without unlocking the Note and just scribble away to take a quick note. Smart select parts of web pages or documents, sign incoming PDFs, you know the drill. I loved my time with the Note 9 for 3 months last year on a long-term loan, and this can do all the cool saving, copying and annotating tricks that the Note 9 could do. It adds a new dimension to what a smartphone is, I reckon. Now, it's true that you can do quite a bit of this with just your finger with a Galaxy S series device, which is how I ended up on the S9 Plus for most of 2019. But the Note series is the ultimate evolution of Samsung's vision for extending Android. Now, what else? The stereo speakers are as imbalanced as ever. Here's a demo, full volume. But they're still plenty loud enough and high enough Fidelity for most people. Thank you, Gary. The always-on display is as super as ever and highly configurable if you want to put the effort in. Samsung's One UI gestures work very well for any old-timers since they mimic the old 3-button Android navigation. I can see how they might be frustrating for new users or someone coming from an iPhone. Android 10 for the Note 10 will hopefully come in the next few months. Now will also offer Google's iPhone-like gestures, so good to have options. Samsung's skin over Android remains, well, a bit cartoony despite all the rework, but icons can be shrunk or changed, grids can be made more dense, slightly, if you're prepared to do a bit of fiddling around and take things from the defaults, which seem to be designed for a 5-inch screen phone, which is just strange, really. Oh well. Now, Samsung's 2019 flagships have all gone with under-screen ultrasonic fingerprint sensors. It's hard to complain too much. They're all slower than capacitive scanners, as found on the back in the previous generation. I'll try that one more time. Thumb on, straight in. You can now unlock without picking the phone up from a desk, though, and the Note 10 Plus's implementation worked, well, 99 times out of 100 for me, so why not? We'll all be using Apple-like Face ID or similar within a year or two anyway. You mark my words. Pixel 4. In summary, if you're offered a good deal on the Galaxy Note 10 on contract, then you can't really go wrong. Stick a case on it, you've got a very large phone, but then maybe you've got big hands, or you just like a large canvas to view your media, and yes, well, to draw on with the S Pen. Personally, if buying SIM-free, then I'd pick up last year's Note 9 with the extra hardware features at half the price. And note, pun intended, that I haven't mentioned yet the smaller Galaxy Note 10, which scales back hardware yet again with no card expansion in particular. What about you? Comments welcome if you've tried either of the Note 10s for yourself.